Right, hello everybody and welcome back to Vintage Thursday. So today we have something very different. It's something we've kind of talked about doing for a long time, but we never knew how to do it, and we still didn't know how to do it, so we're going to make it up as we go along. But what we're going to do, we are going to record the history of tractors here on this farm since 1930?
39.
Since 1939, so hopefully, if we don't forget anything, we're going to go from the very first tractor.
I got notes.
Yeah, it's all written down. So, from the very first tractor in 1939 to 2018, because nothing's changed since then, has it? No.
No idea.
No, right, so, we're not sure how it's going to work out. Hopefully it's not going to be too long. We don't really want to go splitting it in two parts. We're going to try and keep it as accurate as we can without getting too long and too boring. But this is for our own records as much as for YouTube, because as with anything historical, if you don't write it down, it soon gets forgot. So I think that's what we're going to do. We'll
Right.
start in 1939 then. That's
Well,
wartime or before the war? Just about.
well, as far as I know, the first tractor come here, which is we used to call it a yellow fortune, but they call it a Harvest Gold now, in the summer of 1939. I wouldn't have been in those days.
Yeah.
So
was that new or second hand?
No, new.
And when did the war start?
September.
Oh, so it was before the war.
Yeah.
But I suppose they knew it were kind of coming.
Well, I don't know whether that had anything to do with it or not.
No.
I've no idea. And we carried on with that single tractor until the T20 come in, I think it was 1956. There's another story to that one. My father and grandfather were in partnership, and my grandfather wasn't very well at the time. They bought this tractor and it was delivered, and he said to me, "Father, is that the new tractor come then?" "Yeah." "Well, I'll come out and see him when I feel better in a day or two." Well, he died, he never seen it, so...
And that was the TVO one?
Yes.
TVO T20.
Yes,
yeah.
TVO. The N in 1959 was replaced by a 4-cylinder 35. I remember coming back from school, and my mother and father stood outside the back door all grinning and pointing to this tractor in the shed, and this bright shiny 35.
And new again?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how the standard fortune went?
He
Yeah.
was traded in
Yeah.
for the 35. And we carried on with the 4-cylinder 35 until 1968. And that was changed then for a 135 because he was basically wore out. The 4-cylinder, though they're supposed to be bad starters, and a lot of them were, he were never too bad, but he weren't as good as a 135 by any means.
No.
I remember the registration number, which was a bit strange for the 35, were UAM 35. And then, as I say, we went on to the 135, which was OHR 424G.
So that's two Wiltshire numbers, always local. Or...
Yeah, well, they were new.
Yeah.
Yes. The T20 was traded. We're going to get lost here or not?
Well, probably. Yeah.
For a 35X, a second-hand one, and I can't remember what year that would have been. It would have been, fairly well into the 70s, I would have thought.
Oh, it was quite old time you had it then, an X, 35X.
I can't remember. It might have been early 70s. I mean, we got rid of the T20. At the time, TVO was starting to get a little bit, not difficult to get, but not quite as easy as it used to be. And he wasn't really big enough, and we really needed something with a live clutch and all sorts for various whatever we were doing. And
Because you was always making your own hay back then, baling I suppose.
Oh yeah.
Always had your own baler.
Yeah, well the T20 used to do all the baling at one time with old Jones's baler. That's another story. But and then the T20, the 35X from the T20 eventually turned into a 240. He was second hand.
I remember when you bought that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. and then the 240 eventually turned into a 265, which is still here.
Yeah, the 240 couldn't have been here all that long then.
Not really, but we had another silage trailer and tipped up the silage trailer. Of course, it stuck for a split second.
Yeah.
It lifted the tractor off the ground.
I've seen a picture of a 35 like that. I don't think I've seen it.
No, no, that was the hitch ripped out of the back of the tractor. That's a different one. So we had the 2.6 because it frightened me father, as it would, and we had a heavier tractor then, 265, and that is still here. So that is the T20 run is sort of finished.
When did you have the first loader then? Loader tractor? Or what was that on?
The first loader was on the 4-cylinder 35.
Right.
A second-hand, what was it, 735 loader who come under the back axle.
Oh, the load. So you must have put the loader on after you had it then.
Oh, years.
Because the tractor was
I kept whinging I wanted a loader and bought that one, and which was a bit unfortunate because we had a Lamborghini cab on it and couldn't open the door.
Right.
But the nearest story with the cab, I wanted a cab to go on the tractor, and eventually, this was before I left school, father bought one for me, and it cost about £40. And my sister went on a school trip to Denmark, and that cost the same, so we both got the same amount of money spent on it. But we've got the 135 went up to a 165, another new one.
Did the 135 have a loader?
Yeah, well, when we bought the 135, we took the loader off,
swapped it across,
and put it on the other one.
Right.
And then we also got a second-hand cab to go on the loader. Of course, you couldn't open the doors. And then one day, father suddenly bought a new 35 loader for him.
Oh yeah.
Which then you could open the door.
That comes up here, didn't it?
Yeah, and which was a better loader, really. What made him decide to buy it, I don't know. I just come home one day and back from feeding the cattle, and you were putting a new loader on, so that were all right. Then, once you got into the late 60s, early 70s, you needed more horsepower because we went on the silage making, and handling wet grass is harder work. 135 was struggling with heavy crops and in grass and rotary mowers and all sorts, and we bought a new 165 in a hurry because the 135 died, clutch died on it. So VAM 962J, I would be interested if any of these numbers are still about.
What the 165 was J Reg.
Yeah,
that's the same as what I got now, same age. Yeah.
Well, we kept D for some years. I can't remember. He had a massive cap, not a flexi, a Sirocco or something. What were they called?
Yeah, flexi cap.
Is that a flexi cap? Yeah. They were quite a good cab actually. They were one of the. So we had about 71. I think.
71, the J Reg was. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then that come with a safety cab on it, or a frame, and you had to buy the cab. But that were all right, and we kept the until. I think it was 79.
78 or 9, wasn't it?
That 575.
That was T Reg, yeah. So that was 79.
PHO 404T. He were.
So that'd be 79. That had a loader on.
Yeah. No. Well, no, at that time, after the 135, when he went, I took the loader off and put it on 35X.
Oh, right. That was already here.
Yes, but then we've missed a road because this is getting awfully confusing for me, leaving anybody else. Going back a few years.
Back to the 50s?
No, 60s. When I left school, there were only 2 tractors here, and there were my father and a chap that did work here. And so there were only 2 tractors, and father wanted another tractor, but not spend too much money. So bought a second-hand Dexter, which I drove for some 2 or 3 years.
Was that when you left school?
Yeah, just after. Well, Michael Slade were down here the other day, and we talked about it because I sold new him in the finish. Oh, right. And we bought another 35X from Tits, Wallace Tits, but these were in Salisbury. And that had I put the loader onto that.
Right. So you had 2 35Xs here at one point.
Yes.
Right.
and then that 35X and loader were traded in for a 168, a second-hand one, but with a new loader put on in.
What? Not an 80 or a 40?
No, 80 loader.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
What, a new loader on a second-hand tractor?
Yes,
Right.
but the tractor wasn't the world's best starter, and I didn't really like the tractor much. And then that was traded in for a 690, but the loader were took off of that and put onto the 575.
Yeah.
I hope you're following this.
I can remember the 575 with the loader on. I can never remember it without
Yeah, well,
the loader.
we had the loader took off the 168 and put on the 575. And the 690 come,
83, I think.
boy registered that were.
Yeah, I think that was
83 or 84. The 690 went for a second hand 399,
94, that was.
which I think I'd just say the best thing he ever done were caught fire. But
Because the 399, I can remember that well. That was a 1992 tractor that came here in 1994, didn't it?
he hadn't
two
done a
years
lot.
old.
Yeah.
I think it was 800 hours or so. But the guy where it came from, he changed, what did he have? 5 or 6 tractors?
Yeah,
And he changed everything every 2 years. So we had one of those, the 399. No, it wasn't. That was the first 6-cylinder we had, but it wasn't the first 4-wheel drive, was it?
No.
The first 4-wheel
No,
drive
because
was a few years
go
ago.
back over the other side again.
Yeah.
The 575 turned into a 390 4-wheel drive with a new loader again on.
In 1989.
Yeah. No, I don't know what year.
Yeah, it was
we're counting
1989, yeah. That was the first 4-wheel drive to be here then.
Yes. Yeah, that were all right, but he had a dry clutching, and you soon go through clutches on he, I must
Yeah.
admit, but he was a good loader tractor.
Bad starter.
Yeah, you were, strangely.
Terrible, yeah.
Yeah, but then that's 690, which were the same engine.
yeah.
He was perfect.
Yeah,
never
The
failed.
390 came October time, didn't it?
Yeah, it didn't do
It
a
just
lot.
spent all winter chugging around feeding cows. And it didn't do enough hard work as a new engine.
To bed the engine in,
Oil was
no.
full anyway.
The 390 then turned into
4345, which is still here now, in 2002.
before that I bought the 50X.
Yeah. Oh, we had another one, yeah.
We sold the loader and kept the 390 and bought a second-hand 50X, which was a good, powerful little tractor. Didn't have enough reach.
Industrial loader, really,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it was a good tractor. And then the 390 was sold
In 2002.
for a 4345,
4345,
which we still got.
here today, yeah.
On the mixer. And the 50EX turned into another 4345 with a Chilton loader on it.
That was a Snoopy nose, drop nose one with a loader on, wasn't it? That was 2003 that came.
Then he turned into the Kubota, which is still here.
In 2018. So that brings us up. The Kubota is the most, or the newest tractor that is here today.
Yeah, we've missed the line.
Yeah, but we
here.
won't worry about them.
All
for now.
right.
We'll come back to them. So, yeah, so that's kind of the loader tractor line. That's done and finished now because we are up to date with the Kubota.
Which is a very good tractor. There's only other people that slag it
Yeah.
off. If I had enough on lift capacity.
It just doesn't lift enough. But right, so the 50EX, that went, yeah, that's done.
Yeah,
And then we'll go back to the 399.
yeah.
So that was the first 6-cylinder here. It came in 94. And that was our big tractor, did the foraging and the baling until 1999 when it caught fire.
Which was a bit of, well, not a bit of luck, but Ben brought him back from bailing.
With a borrowed baler on.
Yeah.
Because our round baler broke on a Sunday afternoon and Ben had about, I don't know, 5 or 6 acres left to finish the whole year's straw. They took it down to Vaughan Agri, the class dealers, and they couldn't fix it. They said, well, we've got one in the yard, it's going to, you know, just to finish you off, go and have that and finish your baling. So that's what he did. He got back about, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the evening with the tractor in their baler, everything was finished. Obviously that was after milking, so all the yard gates were shut. And rather than get off and open the gates and close the gates and put it in the shed, he parked it in the backed it up in the corner of the yard, which is where it set itself on fire. So it's a good job he didn't put it in the shed, and we'd have lost all the sheds. And anyway, we just lost the tractor and a bit of their baler. We lost the control box as well.
He was a very good tractor on the power shaft, but hydraulics he was poor
Yeah,
on.
and he was whether he was thirsty or just had a small fuel tank, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But he went, when he was on the Forager, it went through a phase of a starter motor every 11 months, didn't it?
Yeah.
We had to change it regular, but we never paid for it because it was always in its warranty. But why it ever done that, I don't know. But so that caught fire. August '99 that was. And we were looking for a second-hand one, weren't we, to replace it with? Similar, something the same. Was it at that time nothing was selling, wasn't it? No new tractors were selling or something, and
Can't remember.
we couldn't find what we wanted, so we ended up buying a new 4260 in October time. That came, didn't it?
Yeah.
Later that summer or early autumn. So that then became kind of the big tractor. We were making silage with a Forager back then up until 2007. We bought the current wagon we've got now, and in the spring of 2007 we had the 4260. We put a turbo on it because it didn't, well, we didn't know, but we assumed it wouldn't have quite enough power to run the wagon.
Well, it wouldn't.
And it wouldn't have done, as it turns out. It did need that extra bit. So we put the turbo on it in the spring of 2007, and then it went onto the wagon at silage time. It did all the forage wagon work until 2015.
Well, whenever we bought that.
Yeah, well, in 2015 the 7614 came here again as a 2-year-old, wasn't it? Yeah, it's 2 years old when it came, so that's been here ever since. So that's kind of that's what we've always called the big tractor, the 399, the 4260, the 7614. That's always, we've always called that the big tractor because it's the biggest we got. And Ben almost always drives the bigger one, which is why you don't see it a great deal on YouTube. So we're up to date on the big tractor. And in 2012, just going back in time again, we added a 3095. We bought that pretty much specifically to go on the mixer wagon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We needed another tractor because up until then, the 4345 was on the mixer, wasn't it?
Well, yeah.
It did hitch on and hitch off, and every time I needed to do something, we had to hitch it off and then put it back on again in the evening. So we were in a position in February 2012 we could afford to add an extra tractor to the fleet, which is then the 3095 came exclusively to sit on the mixer wagon, which it did. And then that same year we bought the straw chopper, didn't we? The straw bedder blower. And then opposite, the 4345 kind of ended up on the straw blower, and we were in the same position again of having to unhitch it in the mornings to do stuff. So I think it was about 2014 or 15, we can't exactly remember. That's when the 698 came to sit on the straw chopper.
Yeah.
But we did buy it to go on the mixer wagon, didn't we? But it was too fast, really.
Yeah.
You couldn't. The clutch was too heavy to make it run slow enough to feed out.
Nearly gone.
And so it sits better on the straw blower than it did on the wagon. And then so the 3095 did the wagon in, did all the feeding. We did use in the early days of the slurry umbilical. We reeled with it quite a lot, didn't we? It was quite handy.
We did. Yeah.
It did a little bit of trailer work.
No, did we do it with that or the 698?
We started on the 698, but I know we did some on the 3095.
Oh, perhaps we did. I can't remember.
Yeah, but it had gearbox issues and it was stuck in low range, so it took a long time to get anywhere. But when it was on the mixer wagon, it didn't matter. And then in 2017, we were looking for something again. We were looking second hand to change the 3095, but we couldn't find anything because we wanted the front linkage for the slurry reeling, and we wanted the big twin pump to add your extra flow for reeling the pipes in. The linkage would have been an easy fix for anything. We could have put that on anything second hand, but we couldn't find one with the big enough hydraulic flow, so we ended up buying a new one with the linkage on. So the 3095 left, and the 5712 came in May 2017, and then obviously that's still here.
That's it.
That's it. Now we up to date. I expect we've missed something out.
Don't think we have. I'll just go through it again because I'm sure you're lost, because I am. Starting in 1939 with the N.
Standard Fortune N, Model N.
That turned into a 4-cylinder 35, which then went to a 135, Then that turned into a 165, into a 575, to a 390, to the 43, 45 we still got now. And the T20 went to a 35, to a 240.
No, 35X.
Oh, 35X. To a 240, which was a good little tractor actually. We had that because I got fed up with getting wet every morning sweeping up the yard, so I said I want one with a cab on. So I went to a 240, to a 265, which we still got. And the other side is the Dexter turned into
so that's kind of the big tractor line then, the Dexter, wasn't it? Started out.
Yeah.
Big tractor started out as a Dexter.
Oh yeah. Dexter 35X 168 690. That's the only tractor I really regret selling. That 690 were a good tractor. 399 caught fire. Oh well. 4260 and 7614.
Yeah.
And that's it really. Oh well, the loader line is a 50X, which was a good powerful thing. 43, 45 with a loader to the Kubota. I quite like the Kubota. His lift capacity is poor. We have just recently tried another which I can't afford to buy, so that's the end of that.
So hang on, so if money was no object, which is not ever going to happen, but which one of these would you buy again just to have as a toy? Out of everything you've had?
Oh well, if
just for something to have.
The 690 had a good cab on, and the cab on ours hadn't rusted. Was all right. I mean, today it would probably been rusted away.
How old was it when it went? 90. It was only 11 years old, I suppose, when it went.
I don't know that. I can't remember. I sort of nearly kept them to putting on a mixer wagon, but I didn't. I should have done. But I thought I couldn't afford it, which I probably couldn't. So
out of everything we've had, the only one you wish you hadn't never sold is the 690.
Well, it'd be easy to be wise after if you can't 35. Where would you keep them?
Well, you can't afford to do it, can you?
Well, you needed the resale value of to help pay for the next
it's just the same as today, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
We couldn't afford to buy that demo one and keep the Kubota.
We can't afford to buy it anyway.
But you just can't do it, can you?
No. So no. Though we did sort of in 3095, he weren't very valuable. We had to pay a lot for he.
Yeah, but then we didn't pay a lot for it in the start, did we?
No. But I hope you weren't too confused.
Yeah.
But that's about the best.
So there we go. That is something we've wanted to do for a long time. Now it's all recorded for historical purposes.
I'll put in there, if you like it, I can go through all the machines we've ever owned for haymaking, silage making.
Because we have, ever since kind of forever, we've done as much as we can ourselves, really, haven't we?
Well, yeah.
You've always had your own gear for baling, and we've worked with a neighbour for a long time, baling and silage making and whatnot. And we do have contractors a little bit now, as you know, for the silage and occasionally for baling. But up until kind of 10 years ago, that didn't really happen, did it? It did everything you could.
Well, when salmons were at the end of the road, we used to do a bit.
Yeah,
they used to
maize and that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's all really. Bit of baling, but yeah. Right, so there we go. Hope you've enjoyed it. Leave us a comment. I don't know what you're going to comment on, but leave us a comment anyway.
Yeah.
And we'll say thank you very much for watching. That's going to be it now for 2023. There might be a Christmas message if I get round to recording one, but other than that, we will see you in 2024. And part 3 of the 35X will be coming out in January.
When's part 2 though?
They've already seen that. That's coming out this week.
Oh,
they watched that last week.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
No, I haven't seen it yet. No, I haven't made it yet. But there we go. So, thank you very much for watching. Happy New Year and all that.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in 2024.
Yeah. Bye.